This episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast is brought to you in part by No Judges Needed BJJ Apparel and Lavender Lane CBD products. You can use the promo code JJT for 20% off your first order at No Judges Needed, and the code JJTimes20, all uppercase. Last two items are numerical for 20% off your first order of CBD products. Thank you very much for sticking with us. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. I am your host, Kevin Bradley, joined as always by my co-host, Kevin Gallagher. And our guest this week is a lifelong martial artist turned coach. Over the course of his career, he's lent his talents to the likes of UFC legend Ronda Rousey and a friend of the show, Neil Melanson, coming to us by way of, I believe, Hollywood, California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hollywood, California, please welcome Gokor Chivichyan. Gokor, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, my friends.
All right. Well, I pronounced everything right, so I'm feeling good.
You did a good job, my friend. No problem. Yes, where are you guys calling from? I know it's East Coast, but where was it?
Well, I'm in Florida. I'm in Tampa, Florida, and Kevin is in New Jersey. So, due to the magic of modern technology, we can have this at the four corners of the world, of the country, and still be able to have a conversation with one another. So, I am very excited to have you on the show because I consider you to be an iconic figure, and I think the majority of the mixed martial arts world also believes the same thing. It's just that, for some reason, I don't feel like there's enough recognition given to you, and in particular to the highest in brand that you have created from your gym. So, look,
I think the reason is because I'm sorry,
no, I just saw your show, babe. You talk all you want, my man. What we're here for.
Yeah, the reason I think because the people I teach, I think they don't do. I make them come to the champion. When they start coming to the big name, that's the time they have to talk about me, talk about everything, and sometimes they go left and right, running out of it, and that's why the people they confused. They don't know who they train. These people like Ronda Rousey or Gokor Chivichyan, Manny Gamburian. Too many. I teach too many good guys are the champions. But I think it's up to them to give me credit. But sometimes they don't, and that's what happens, you know.
Well,
I don't like to talk about myself.
I can understand and I can respect it. I can respect you as the martial artist that you are, and as the instructor that you are. That you a lot of times as coaches, we live vicariously through our students. It's not necessarily the way it happens, but kind of like a proud papa. Like, I'm not going to go out there and talk about what my kids do, but inside I know they're great, and I know that I had a big hand in making them to get to that point.
I know we mentioned him at the top, but I just wanted to say that Neil Melanson was very, very vocal about how important you were to him and just MMA in general. So he's definitely one of the guys going around making sure people know you. But for those that don't, could you? I know you've had an incredibly long career spanning a bunch of different disciplines. Give us a little bit of your history with martial arts.
You know, when I born, it's in Armenia. It was a part of Soviet Union. I was in Soviet national team. I competed different type of tournaments. I started with the wrestling. Freestyle wrestling, many years. I come to national champion, and then I take Sambo. You guys are familiar Sambo, and I was a Sambo national team, Russian national team, and then Judo. When it comes first time in Armenia, it was a Koshin Judo. So I don't know if you guys are familiar Koshin Judo. Koshin Judo, it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu today. So if you look at on the internet, and you can just find out a little bit about that. what happens is when the first judo comes to Armenia was a Koshin judo. Well, we're doing most of the ground game, so it's like 75% in the ground, 25% stand up. And then, but because I do Sambo and wrestling, so my stand up was great too. So we just started with that. And then future changed to the Kodokan, which is the judo today, was more stand up, 75% and 25 ground. So, but that's what we started back there when I was a young kid, you know.
Let me ask you a quick question about that. So when you talk about judo as a form of martial arts, I struggle sometimes with finding the relevance in the secondary form of judo, the more modern form of judo, in terms of just throwing. I get the idea of throwing someone down to an ippon as the part of their entirety of their body hitting on the ground to build the concussive force. But yeah, what do you feel about judo's actual practicalities as a martial art in that term?
I think judo is a very important sport for every other sports you do. You know, like especially if you do jiu-jitsu, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu. If you look at the tournaments, all the best, really best guys from Brazil or any champions, so you're looking at and you really think they're doing a good job. Those guys are most of them are judo black belts, and they do also jiu-jitsu. So what's happening in the game, if you really look at your game, and most of the time that you see the jiu-jitsu game, people are a pull guard and stay in the ground, or just they have a good guard. And they play with it. But if they stand up longer, if somebody doing a nice judo wrestling, so they're gonna get thrown. I tell a lot of my students in my studio, my academy, well, we're doing jiu-jitsu, we're doing judo, we're doing sambo, we're doing grappling. The grappling is the most strongest art where we have. A lot of people think in our academy is doing judo, and sometimes when they're talking about Gokor Chivichyan, they're thinking of judo. But actually, we use judo on a grappling, and it's a proof for you as a Gokor Chivichyan. When he moved to the UFC, you see how beautiful he was throwing the people around. And then also Ronda Rousey, same thing. Ronda Rousey is a judo. She's a judo player, but also she studied with me in judo. Also, she trained with other people too. But her grappling, then what she did, and she did the highest system, which is it's my system. It's kind of we create our own way to throw people. And look at this. Gokor Chivichyan is a judo. Ronda Rousey is judo, but they are not really judo. They are more like a high stance system. You see the Olympic judo champions comes to the UFC, couldn't do nothing. Couldn't do any throws the way you see Caro or Ronda or anybody else throwing. The reason why, because the system, what we put it on, is different. It's not regular judo. It's not Kodokan judo. But we love judo. We compete in the tournaments. We've been 16 years #1 in the whole United States. The people hate us. Every time we move, when we walk in, and everybody were wearing the black with the hat, and they're walking, says Team Hayastan, everybody just don't like us because they're scared from us. You know, like it's the true things I'm telling you. But today, we also compete in the jiu-jitsu tournaments, grappling tournaments, judo tournaments, sambo tournaments. We do MMA. There's a lot of MMA guys. I have the Bellator or go UFC or just regular games. You know, just what I'm trying to tell you. When you hear about me, everybody say, "Oh, Gokor, oh, it's a good, strong judo." Yes, it is, but the main thing is the highest system.
What are some of the things that you focus on and some of the things that you train your fighters specifically to make their judo be more effective in an MMA state?
Or just like, could you describe more about the Hyaston system? Because it sounds like that's what the system.
That's what I was going to say. The Hyaston system is very strongly combined with the wrestling, judo, and sambo. That's 50%. The rest of the 50%, it's come to the Hyaston system, which is I created myself with those many years of training. I'm doing almost 53 years. I'm doing this sport. You know, it's a long time. I look like at 30 years old. I understand.
you look good, brother. You look good, my man.
I was gonna say a solid 25. So
you don't count the nights, yes?
No, we do not.
Yeah. So simply, that's what really is the Hyaston system. Is very combined, and I spent lots of time for me because I want to create the stuff too. I see when someone fights, what you do. You scream, don't do this, that. So those don't do this, that. So I don't want to do it on the fighting time. I want to do it when we're training. So this is what I created for my guys to compete and to become successful, you know. And that's what all the throws, all the moments and timing, it comes to right time, you know.
What are some of the things? Like you talked a lot about having advanced knowledge of BJJ, judo, sambo, and wrestling, and it's you know, it's stated and it's actually historically relevant and documented that you are a high level champion in all these sports. One of the only few people alive that have actually competed and won at the highest levels of BJJ, sambo, and judo. What are some of the things that you would say individually about each one of those arts that make them special, that make them important, that make them relevant?
I love all the arts. I'm all my life, like almost 53 years, I've been fighting all different arts. I never fight Jiu-Jitsu before, but I have lots of black belt students come from Jiu-Jitsu. Then we're young guys, they 20s, 25, 30s, but they're competitors. Many times when I'm not a those coach, stay like this and watch my student. I'm always trained with them. I fight with them, I train with them, I run with them, I take care of myself. Every time I compete with them, and they always tell me, Sensei Gokor, you should go and compete in Jiu-Jitsu competitions. Because they said, look, I am a champion. I've been a world champion 3-4 times, and you kick my ass, and I'm 25 years old. You know, and then, you know, I never thought about to compete or anything like that after this age. But too many people, they're asking me to do it. And, you know, I decided last year I competed a few of the tournaments. And if I was thinking, I'm sorry, I know your question is different, but I'm thinking this.
Your show, brother. You talk what you want. I love you, man.
Well, I was thinking it will be so easy for me to fight him. That's my son.
Yeah, he was very helpful in setting this up. Make sure you tell him to give him my best. Thank you.
Yeah, so the important, I want to mention this to you. I win a judo world. I win a sambo world. I won a grappling. I won I've been too many different world championship in my life. I've never been a jiu-jitsu. So I decided to do it. And I'll be honest with you, I was thinking if fighting my age, it will be like piece of cake. You know, I'm going to walk there and just play like a dancing way and come out. But I was wrong. I was wrong, my friend. I go over there after 20 years no competing, nothing. You know what happens after 20 years of nothing? You don't compete. And I feel nervous a little bit. I never feel nervous when I was a young kid. This time I feel it. Not because I'm scared my opponents. I just nervous because I'm old and I can hurt myself. easily. And somehow, when I start competing, I feel those guys are even older, but very strong guys, very, very strong guys. It surprised me. But I know I'm not going to lose it, but I know it surprised me how good they are. And, I want to give a lot of credit to these guys, and they black belt for nothing. So they train all their life in the sport when I competed, and just learned a little bit of the rules like a couple months before that, and then I entered the tournament.
I compete a lot on the competition circuit, jiu-jitsu competition circuit. I do Fight to Win, and I'm 43 years old, and I compete a lot with young kids. Yeah. And I also do the Masters Worlds, and I, in my mind, sometimes feel like, what are these old men going to bring to the table? I compete with these young guns all the time, and I 100% agree with you across the board. There's something about, particularly at the black belt level, you're dealing with a black belt that has been training jiu-jitsu primarily, especially in the gi, because there's nuances to the gi, that's been training in the gi for 30 years now. Some of them have been. And when you go out there and competing against those guys, they are there and they're ready to win, and maybe 43 years old, but they're training their asses off to get there. It's nowhere near as easy as you think it is. And that's one of my goals, to win that damn Masters World at the black belt. I wanted a brown, but I want to win it at black belt.
Yeah, I find out that after start competing with the gi. Without the gi, I have to be honest with you, I have no problems. I play with everybody.
Right.
Even those jiu-jitsu guys that jiu-jitsu over 50 years, 45 years with the gi, and they take a gi out, and they like, for me, like almost, I don't feel any, especially somebody my age.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I compete with them, it just looks like you take care of the sick man, like I don't want to hurt them. I throw them and I just don't want to jump on them. So like that. But with the gi, it was a little different, because what I thought about it is those guys are doing this since 5 years old, and they are 50s. So they're over 45 years they're doing this. And, every sport has its own trick, and on 45 years are they learning how to do tricks. Me, I just basically, I don't know too much of the tricks on jiu-jitsu. I know one thing's you just pass a guard and hold the guy and catch him in armbar. And they don't even allow me to do leg locks, straight heel hooks and stuff like that. But, I have to follow the rules. I respect the jiu-jitsu, and I want to follow the rules,
Hey, Kev, I could be reading into this, but it sounds like Gokor is saying that if he meets you in the Masters circuit, he's kicking your ass.
I would be honored. I would be honored to compete with Gokor in any format, at any time.
I'll be honest with you. I never ever say in my life I can kick anybody's ass. I always very quiet at the tournaments. I never talk bad to anybody. I respect everybody. Everybody trains so hard, And I want to kick butt when I'm in the competition. So when I'm walk in, that's what my brain go. That's it, and that's what I am. But before that, I'm very friendly. A lot of people don't know too much of who I am, and sometimes people judge me a little wrong without know me. So. And like sometimes people come to the Hollywood, they want to come to train with me, and then people say, "Hey, don't go to Gokor's place. They're going to hurt you, and they're going to do this and that." It's completely opposite. My guys are so much respectful. People are the visitors. They're very, very nice. Longest you don't have an attitude. My guys, all fighters. They're all badasses. But if you are nice to them, they are like a brother to you. But if you come walk in and act like you're the man here and nobody, of course they're going to kick your ass for sure, But I say, we're very respectful. Everybody come and train with us, and they surprise how respectful we are. And, they come like a family to us, And you guys are welcome, of course.
100. If I'm next time I'm out there, I'm definitely gonna hit you up. I go to LA. I go out to LA probably once or twice a year. I'm gonna make sure and come by and see you guys.
Come pick me up first.
I got you. Well, I'll stop by Jersey and grab him first.
Stop by Jersey, come by and get me.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that because I've spoken to a few different people, Neil in particular, and he says that the culture at Hyoston is tough. And you guys breed warriors and you breed fighters and you guys train hard and unapologetically so.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit why you believe that's the truth and why you believe that's the way it is.
It's like why we training hard or something like that.
Yes.
Well, I don't really know. Be honest with you, I'm a little tough to my guys. I have to be honest. I'm very tough when I teaching, but I'm very friendly after the class. So after the class, I sit with my guys, I talk to them, I talk about everything. Sometimes I like to hear the bad things from them, and because when you are very friendly and they start talking, I did this, I did that, and I want to hear all that, then I can give them a right way to go their life. Like sometimes I hear it without stop them, and then after that I say, what you're doing is wrong, and you should do this. Sometimes when you talk to them, they don't talk to you their life. But I see my students as a family for me. I see my son, I see my brother, I see my everything. Depends on the ages. But when I'm tough with them and they respect me, they understand I'm tough to them because I want them to be good. Like Ronda Rousey, when she trained, every time I hit her in the floor, and she get up and her eyes was red and crying, she wants to smash me. That was she was. And everybody say, well, how come she cry a lot? I said, well, that's because her heart she's a warrior. She doesn't like to lose it. And that's the way she always been in a competition or a tournament or training. It doesn't matter wherever she was. She was always cry when she's not doing what she wants to do. And
No, you can keep going. Sorry.
No, it's something Caro or any other ones. We got Gigard Musatsi. Gigard. He comes and train with us. Lots of people are training. Surprisingly, we got lots of Brazilian guys are now training with me. And many, many, many years ago, they kind of has an issue because we compete in a jiu-jitsu tournament. And every time we do some leg or anything like that, they kick us out.
Now everybody wants to do leg locks.
35 years ago, when I was talking about the leg locks, talking about do it and talking about nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to. Every time I catch them, they don't want me to do it either. And I've been in training with. I don't want to make names out of it here because I don't want the people thinking I'm talking about them. I've been in a lot of jiu-jitsu schools. They invite me a lot. And then said, okay, no standing. And then it goes on the knees. And then when you put one knee out, said, oh, no knee out. Both knees are ground. Okay. And then you catch leg lock, no leg locks. And I told them, I say, I want to ask you something. Why you don't let me do those things? He said, well, we don't want you to look good. Here is our student. I say, yeah, but you don't think your student need to learn those stuff? I'm here. I can show you guys. I can teach you guys what you worry about it. But they always talk to me after everybody go. They say, okay, now you can teach me, when nobody's here and stuff like that. But I don't do that to my student. If I don't know the technique, if you come to my school and you show some technique and I don't know, I would love to learn. And I don't feel like, oh, I am the coach, I am the God, I know everything. No, that's not the way I am, I think that's why I let my student go and train with other people. I tell them, if you know it's good for you, go train. I say, as long as you know this is your home, you do just what you want to do. Too many people come and train with me and said, Sensei Gokor, please don't tell them I'm here. I say, you know what? You don't come next time. If your school doesn't allow you to go other place, I'm not gonna let you come here anymore. See, this is why my students get better, because they're learning from everybody, not only from me. They learn from you, they learn from tapes, they learn from other schools they're visiting. But one other things, I don't contract my fighters because I want their heart be with me. And what happens, sometimes they go out and everybody says things, hey, you know, I can give you more money. I make you this, I make you that. And sometimes they believe it. And this is why when my stronger students are coming to that level, they already champion, they already make money. And then somehow they kind of listen to other people and disappear, you know.
It's difficult for young fighters. It's when they get that money flash in their face, sometimes they forget where they really came from. It's one of the tragedies. I mean, it happens. It's been happening for years. Professional fighting, boxing, everything. It's just the way it goes.
But they're coming back. They're coming back after they stop making money, and I still take them. You know, I still take them because they're like a kid for me. You know, they grow up with me from the baby. You know.
So let's talk a little bit about leg locks, because many, I mean, I'm amazed by the amount of truly iconic leg lock fighters that have come from your system. Guys like Joe Baez, guys like Neil Melanson. You know, it's in every one of them I speak to, I hold them in such high regard as these leg lock specialists. And every one of them always tells me that, oh, Gokor submits me 20 times every time I roll with him. Every time Gokor touches my feet, it's not even close. Tell me a little bit about your leg lock system and what makes your leg lock system special.
Well, today I look at a lot of other guys are doing the leg locks. They're doing a great job. You know, I'm very happy to see other people are doing it. Like I say, it's 35 years. I'm trying to tell people to do it. And finally, the 5-6 years they start doing it. And they understand what I was talking about 35 years ago. But the leg locks, a lot of people, they're thinking it's come from Sambo. It's not. It's some of them come from Sambo. I use it. But like I say, I created a lot of moves on myself, because even the Sambo we're using like the same as like a Jiu-Jitsu, straight leg lock only. Only the different in Jiu-Jitsu, they don't let you cross your feet, what they call
reaping.
Reaping, yeah.
Right.
Sambo, you can do that. That's only the difference about Jiu-Jitsu leg locks and the Sambo leg locks. Everything else is same. Another thing is a different. Jiu-Jitsu allowed the leg locks only brown belts and black belts. Sambo, you can be at 5 years old and learn leg locks and do it. I think that's better for learning the leg locks when you were a young boy. When you grow, come up some point of the teenager and stuff, then you are the master of that. But in Jiu-Jitsu, they allowed you to do brown and black, and you can be a brown and black maybe after 25 or maybe whatever. Then start learning the leg lock. That time, you're not going to be mastering that, you know. But some of people, they start a little earlier. They're doing a good job. The difference, what I do, we are using our grip, but we are not using our hands to finish the leg locks. It's whole body weight. It's the same thing as like the boxing. You can just punch, or you can punch with your body with the same time. So your body punch is a lot harder than your just regular punch. There's a lot of people that do leg locks. They're learning from YouTube or any other places, or some of them come up and teaching, but they are not teaching very well. And what happens, hundreds of people watching and the 100 people doing wrong too. But that's why I did some DVD for BJJ Feneric. I just explain a little bit how we do it with what's a different little bit of what other people doing, and then they understand it very clearly what we doing. Basically, the twisting and like the heel hooks and stuff like that. We got like too many different ways that we do heel hooks, and the people just thinking that one way the heel hooks works, but it was too many different ways. We do this couple years, I'm doing the heel hooks a little different with them. I'm using my two hands, holding the heels and using my shoulder and using my body with it. And once I grab someone, and it doesn't matter how stronger he is, how much he wants to get out there, I can easily break his legs without any problem. He cannot even run out of that position. Once I grab it, it's done. It's like it's very simple stuff. But of course, you have to learn correctly, and you have to train. And if you don't train, you just watch. Of course, maybe a lot of other technique will not work, but you have to really understand it.
Let me ask you another question. So I had Joe Baez on my other podcast a little while ago, and he's a friend of mine. I know Joe pretty well. We've competed on similar cards together. We keep talking about competing against one another, but we like each other so much. I don't want to fuck with Joe. He's my boy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a very good guy. Awesome dude. We've talked a little bit about the philosophy behind your leg lock system versus the philosophy behind like the Danaher type system, and the way that Gordon Ryan and the more modern ways that jiu-jitsu, that the leg lock system is evolved in jiu-jitsu. And the way I perceive it, maybe you can help me to see if this is correct. Yes. So I perceive a lot of the way John Danaher's approach to leg lock systems run as through the ashi or the entanglement first. So in other words, controlling the limb, pinning the person to the ground, immobilizing them, and then after that is accomplished, working into the breaking mechanics of the break. The way I envision the way Joe Baez and some of the guys that you have taught leg locks to work is that you guys go after the break first and thereupon funnel into other actions as your opponent reacts to that. Am I right in saying that? Is that off base? Is that correct in some ways?
Yeah, the way I teach, and sometimes people, they're using the kind of little bit their own way to do also, but they end up with what I end up with. It's not too much different what other people using the leg locks. Today they learn a lot from each other. A lot of people watch my tapes and they learn a lot from me. And then and then they go and they create their kind of little different way. They explain it their way, and they change a little bit, maybe possible. Things are growing. It's all the time, and the people have the ideas. Like John, it's a very nice person. Meet him. I never meet him before. Meet him on a tournament where he come and introduce himself, and we become friends. Just talk to each other a little bit, and he told me he's very fan of the leg locks, what I do and everything. And I told him, I said, you're doing a great job too. Yourself are beautiful. And then what he does, basically, I cannot explain my technique as much as John can do it. His English, it's 10 times better than me.
And he has this cerebral level that's just the next level. Listening to him talk, you just get lost, and it's just you're in awe of his way.
He has, I cannot do that explanation. It just, for me, it's very short. Hold this, hold that, do this, do that. Put your leg here, put your leg that, and boom, done. And I don't say it's wrong. And I don't say it's wrong with John, and everybody has different type of way to teach. The one things I know, he's doing a great job, and his students, some of his students they're competing, they're doing great job. That means he's doing a good job there. So, but I think I'm doing just a little bit different what the John does. And most of things, I use a lot of my chest and my body weight. And then, I think maybe I don't want to say
right.
mine is better.
Yeah, I didn't mean that in any way, shape, or form to say, hey, is yours better or John's better. I was just curious from a philosophical approach, some of the differences between your approach to leg locks versus. And it's
but if you wanted to claim it was better, that's totally fine.
Oh, well, because we're totally going to run that clip.
I never say what is better than what. A lot of people asking me, what do you think is judo is better than jiu-jitsu? You know what I ask? I say, if jiu-jitsu guy is going to fight stand-up, judo is better. If judo guy is going to fight jiu-jitsu guy in the ground only, then jiu-jitsu is better. And what does that mean? Both of them has the better things. But if you learn both, then what happens? And you are great. You're great a fighter. This is what I explain people. They always wants to know which one is better, which one. Because I do all, and maybe they're thinking I'm the right person to ask because I do everything. And and I told them, I say, if you are a great judo player and you don't have uniform and your judo 50% lost, I was teaching the Ishii. I don't know if you guys know Ishii. From Japan. He's an Olympic judo champion. He come to my academy without the gi, and then the guy who brought him, and he said, Gokor, he's an Olympic judo champion. He's a heavyweight, and he's one of the legends in Japan. And I said, okay, I'm very happy to have him here. And he said he's here for train with you and stay with you, and he wants to train him. So when we start grappling with Ishii, I was expecting Olympic champion, is unbelievable strong guy, is heavier than me. I was thinking I'm going to have a little difficulty with him. But when the ground game, no gi, Ishii would look like a beginner for me. He's like catch him like 7-8 times. And then I asked Ishii, I say, and his English is very bad, and I tell him, I say, you never done in the ground game? He said, yes, I did, but with the uniform. But when I put him in the uniform, a couple of days later, this guy looks like a completely different person. Completely. So that what I'm trying to tell you, a lot of time I've been at jiu-jitsu schools a long time ago when I have no gi, and when I grapple with people, say, can you put the gi on? I said, why? You cannot grapple with me without the gi? He said, no, we like to put the gi on. And I told him, I said, there is nothing wrong. What you say is the problem is you have to train with the gi and you have to train without the gi. You have to be good on both of them. It's a two different world, but you bring together. See, it's embarrassing when somebody come and with the gi or without the gi and you tell him, can you put a gi on, please, because I don't know how to fight without the gi. In my students, I will kick their butt if they do that. Number one. Number two, if they come up and they sit down on the ground and say, okay, let's fight here. I tell them, no, the fight starts standing. You want to be down, you'll be down later when I knock you on the floor. But now you stand up, because if you're in the street, you're not going to sit down in the cement and tell them, come to me. They will kick in, your head will go away. So that's the reason why I want sport. I'm looking at sport, not only going to the judo tournament, jiu-jitsu tournaments. I'm looking sport you can feel comfortable in the street. When you walking, nobody can put you down. No, if you're on the ground, nobody can handle you there. And of course, my students are coming to the grappling, judo, jiu-jitsu. But I told them every Friday, you must do kickboxing and boxing, even you are not interested. Because we have a world champion, a Russian national coach, Roman Karmazin. He's teaching the boxing. We have Benny the Jet on the kickboxing. So it's a group family. every one of them, every Friday, must train, go the kickboxing and boxing. We give 3 hours. Every grappler, every judo guy, every one of them that must do that, and we don't charge for it. So Friday, it's a family day. All the coach comes up together, and if the kickboxers comes, I teach them how to grapple. Grapplers goes to the boxing. So Friday, that's the family days are while we mix in the martial art. Because if you do grappling and judo, jiu-jitsu, and you don't know how to punch in the street, how are you going to survive? So you're going to grab someone if someone has something in the head and hit you in the head or in the ground or whatever. It has a knife. It can be a million billion things, you know. So that's why it's always good to combine it sometime, you know, learn everything. What you think?
Yeah, you go first, Kat.
I 100% agree with you, Gokor. I will say this. I say this from I boxed for a long time. Boxing was my first love. I came up boxing. So like I take for granted sometimes that I understand how to close the distance and evade punches. And I think based upon like my boxing credentials and my boxing background, it's really less about being able to throw a punch and more about not just recognizing when punches are coming. So as I'm closing the distance to get inside my grips and put someone on the ground, that I'm not getting hit when I'm doing that. So I still believe that grappling in itself is the best martial art for self-defense in a one-on-one scenario. I work at a bar. I'm a bouncer at a bar. Like I have used jiu-jitsu more times than I can count on my hands and fingers. And it's like a superpower.
Yes.
I 100% agree with you in the fact that a lot of jiu-jitsu practitioners and a lot of guys that I know that are high-level brown belts, high-level black belts, purple belts, that think they have this air of invincibility because jiu-jitsu guys sometimes think that, well, I know jiu-jitsu, I have a superpower. Like, if you don't know how to wrestle and you don't have some kind of striking, you're in for a pretty shitty fucking time. Yeah. Now, if you get a hold of somebody, but you better hope you don't get hit in the face if they know how to wrestle.
Yeah, I don't want to mention name. Look at the guys, jiu-jitsu guys. I know a very good friend of mine. They world champion jiu-jitsu. The young world champion, not the master. And it comes to the one punch and two punches, all his jiu-jitsu. He forget he trained jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He forget completely.
I think it was Max. I think it was Max Holloway that said like all black belts become a blue belt if you punch them hard enough.
Right. If you hit it every time you hit somebody in the face, they lose a belt rank.
Yeah, that's see my background. Also, I did boxing 7 years, and then also when I come to America, I was competing Judo in Japan. I was competing a lot here and there. And my boxing has helped me, my wrestling has helped me, my judo has helped me. That time there's no jiu-jitsu, and I was doing the grappling, and nobody knows about what is grappling. Actually, the grappling world comes from me, because every time I was fighting, Jean LaBelle is calling me, grabbing, Gokor, grabbing, taking down, grabbing. So the grappling, this comes up at that word, and we don't even talk about it. And then it's funny when we start using the grappling word, then little by little, all the world start using the grappling. It was funny. It's an interesting way to come to us and goes to the world, But we was the first guys on all this world. Maybe we can calculate that a few of us, we kind of start all this stuff,
We had Rashid. I can't remember the fuck his name. Roddy Ferguson, Dr. Roddy Ferguson. You may know him. He was a judo Olympian. Real good guy, friend of mine. He lives here in Tampa, and we talked a little bit about that exact thing and about how, particularly back in the days when you would have been training with Jean LaBelle, that grappling just wasn't a thing in any form of martial arts in America. Everything in martial arts was all stand-up. It was all Kung Fu, it was all karate, it was all Taekwondo. Whereupon overseas in Japan or in Eastern Europe, grappling and wrestling and judo had a place of dominance. So like it's just that the whole culture wasn't there. Everything was striking. And now we see how completely dominant it is to be able, if you don't know any grappling, like I'll say this. So if you're a boxer and you don't know any grappling, I feel like you are way less capable of defending yourself than someone that knows grappling that doesn't know any striking.
Yes, I agree with you, and I always say, people, it's for me, and I'm very sorry for other people listening. Maybe it will be not make them happy, but for me, as a sport, as a fighting sport, as you come in as a fighter, for me, it's boxing, kickboxing, Thai boxing. This is three things are the striking, and it comes wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu, grappling, Judo, Sambo, and the 5 different. This 8 arts, if you train, you can be dangerous. Anything else, you can train. You can train karate, kung fu, aikido, taekwondo. Good. I don't want to say nothing bad, but for me to get your 100% goal, that's 1, 8, 9 sports I mentioned. I like Olympic sports. Are they more like a world championship, judo world championship? You know what you have to do to become a world champion in judo? You know what you have to do? You have to kick your ass years and years and years to be just a qualified there. Coming to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, it looks like you just walk into the shower, taking a shower, I'm a world champion. I'm telling you a true, I'm competing judo championship. I win the judo world, only the masters when I was a master. I never can able to win when I was a young. And I was so good. I don't want to really talk about myself. I was so good. When I was in 1980, I was going to the Olympic. I was a young boy. There's a guy from Georgia. It's a Cabarelli. He was the world champion and Olympic champion. He was 10 years older than me. So we come together, the last choice, if I'm going Olympic or him. He beat me by 1 point, and he comes another Olympic champion. So I was that good to become an Olympian and become a gold medal. But I never been. Why? Because it's difficult. Yes. Judo come to the Olympic or a world champion. You're talking about.
We talked about that with Roddy Ferguson.
You're talking about you sitting here and you want to be a billionaire.
So let's talk about that for a little bit, because I watched your documentary. You still got some time? You want to talk a little bit more? You're good?
I have another interview with the German from they're gonna call from Germany, but I'm okay right now.
All right, cool. I'm having fun with this. Yeah. I watched your a couple of your interviews on the Ronda Rousey documentary that came out, which was great. It really was good. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a bit of a sour taste in my mouth based upon Ronda Rousey. Watching that documentary changed my opinion of her. She is an amazing athlete and deserving of all the accolades that she
was. Amazing athlete. Yeah. The problem is she chose the wrong side and the wrong way.
Yeah.
She lost everything.
Yeah.
If she was with us until today, she will be the star.
I in my opinion, I believe that. I 100% agree with you in that regard. And I don't want to point fingers. I don't want to name names, but
no names, nothing. It's okay.
But based upon what I know about you and based upon what I know about Hyacinth, I 100% believe if she would stay with you, we'd still be talking about how great Ronda Rousey is.
Yeah, we make her a champion. Actually, that's where she come from, and she was winning what we teach her.
Right. You know? But what I wanted to talk to you about, because we talked a little bit about Olympic wrestling, a little bit about Olympic athletics, and one of the things you said on the documentary that I thought was pretty interesting was how a lot of these athletes from other countries that compete in these Olympic sports, they're sponsored by the state, they're sponsored by their countries, and they're paid by their countries to go out and compete, to be able to stay at the height of their athletic potential. And we look at an athlete like Ronda Rousey, who literally was living in a shed while she was trying to get ready for the Olympics. And it's kind of sad and kind of a travesty in that regard.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
You know, I'm very sad about it. Like Ronda Rousey, she was leaving her car. She comes and trains. And most of the time when she misses a class, I get angry to her a little bit. And she said, Sensei, I have no money to put the gas in my car and come to training. So what can you do at that time? There's nothing you can say. She was a great athlete. She was unbelievable. I don't think so in United States, any girl can done what she done. And she can do still. Even today, if she just come back and start training in the next year, she come a champion. I guarantee you. She's so good. But the problem is not only being good, about the Olympic things. And when she asked me, she wants to go do the MMA, I asked her, I said, Ronda, you almost championed the last time. You lost in the last 12 seconds. You can become a champion, Olympic champion. Forget about MMA. Continue to come to the Olympic. Then after that, you're still young. You can do MMA after. She said, no, I want to do an MMA. The reason maybe why, because she don't get no sponsors. She don't get paid for it. She don't get nothing. Zero. Like I tell them, she's Olympian. She's going to Olympic, but she has no money to train. She's very lucky. She has our school. She has a lot of other friends, a lot she trained with before. She lucky she have us, like different. But think about it. If she have to pay for the gym, pay for everything, she don't have
flights to these other countries to go compete. I mean, that's expensive.
Yeah, her mom helped a lot, and her mom was inside the Judo federation. So she was the number one, and they kind of pay for her going left and right. But but look at this. She can be Olympic champion. She is the third place in Olympic. She had nothing that time. She walked to the MMA. She became a millionaire.
Yeah.
But why they don't take care of the Olympic competitors well? Give them a place, give them a car, give them a money, train and represent country. And they know there's a special someone.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I think about that a lot myself.
Yeah, Travis Senting is a great judo player. Now he's also a great jiu-jitsu player too. Yes, he's doing jiu-jitsu also.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at it. It's a beautiful human being, talented. Actually, Travis competed with my son a long time ago. My son is also they competed. He competed a lot of my students the time when they was young.
Oh, okay.
I got one more question for you. Kev, you got something? Sorry, but
yeah, just real quick. You speak about Ronda, despite everything. With you speak about her with like a lot of love. I can tell that you care about her very much and still believe in her.
She's like a daughter to me. Like I love her. Every time I see her, I give a hug her and train to do whatever I can. But it's her decision. Whatever has happened, it's happened. It's her decision. There's nothing I can say.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to comment on that very briefly. Do you still talk to her fairly often?
No, the day she left our school, I never talked to her and I never see her at all. And it's not like I'm keeping myself. I don't want to talk to her. And no. We never talked. Her mom come too many times to my place. She begged me to bring her back and everything. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. She left. She get brainwashed, and then basically, and I will never, ever go after my students.
We won't name any names, but I think I know the guy you're talking about.
Gokor Chivichyan, when he left the time, I never called. And then when Gokor come back, he said, Sensei Gokor, every day I was waiting till you call me and I can come back. But he said, you never call me. I told him, I said, I'm your teacher. the student has to follow the teacher, not the teacher the student.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. You see, if I follow it and I start calling, then everybody gonna thinking I'm after the money, after this. I'm nobody's money after. If I was the money, I was the business, I will make them sign a contract. I never signed contract to every of my students, even today. Even we lost later on, and people tell you must have a strong contract. For me, if they heart is not with me, they can leave. That's it.
That's impressive, man. I think of you as a true teacher in that regard, and something that I
I'm not nobody's after money. I am on there to make them a champion. I believe it. There's 23 guys. I put them on UFC. I train them, and the interesting out of the 23, I think 10 or 12. It starts from scratch. They start from the baby to grow, so I give them. I don't like to take people from there and make them champion, and then I tell them, hey, look at me. I have a student that's a UFC champion. I can help them. Like Gegard Mousasi is a great fighter, but I don't make him what he is today. I helped him, as much as I helped him. He helped him or not. He knows that I cannot do it, but when he's coming back all the time, that means it's something we're doing good for him. It's just the way it is.
I have one more question for you. Then we're gonna let you go because So it's tough to have a conversation about grappling in the early '80s when you started coming without talking about someone that I feel like is probably one of your coaches, one of your mentors, Gene LeBell.
Yeah.
Tell me about how influential Gene LeBell was to you in forming what your ethos is, your system is at Hyaston.
Yeah, the first time when I meet Gene, the first question he asked me, do you know how to fight without the gi? That's the first question he asked me. What happened is when I walk in and he's Gene, first time I come to America, I don't even speak English. I was 17 years old, but I was Olympian, and in Soviet Union, I was Soviet national champion in adults with 17 years old.
And judo or sambo?
Judo and sambo, both. I always do both together. And then when I walk and he has Olympic guys going to Olympic, and here he got 30 black belts on his academy over there. I beat up all the 30 guys, and every one of them one by one. And then and after we finished, Gene was looking at me like this. He said, "Can you fight without the gi?" And I told him, I said, yes. He said, how you do that? Because you do judo and sambo is all gi. I said, yeah, well, I was a wrestler too. I was 9 years of wrestling. Okay. He said, I have a guy for you. He's a Russian bearer. His name is Igor. He's a 3-time world champion in wrestling. He said, can you wrestle with him? Actually grapple. That time there's no grapple world. You remember? And then can you wrestle with him? I say, sure. And then next day, Igor comes. And Igor is a 220 pound. I was only 165 pounds. And Igor looks like a giant for me. So me and Igor, we start clenching, and I take down Igor, and then I catch him in the armbar, and then Igor feel very bad because everybody's scared from him, and somehow some kid comes up and beat him up. And then he said, let's one more time. So one more time, it's happened like maybe 6-7 times. So I control him, catch him, choke him, all kind of, and finally he gave up and he said, you're the first man to beat me, nobody beat me and stuff like that. Igor was a great man. He died after 3-4 years later. I know him. I come a part of the family. Gene was a part of there to help me, and they're doing like catch wrestling. Most of them are they more like. For me, was nothing. It's new, but it's something I learned there too. And like I said, I always like to. Today also, I like to learn. it doesn't matter. I see somebody does a nice technique. I don't know. I like to ask him to do it, so because I want to learn. Then once I learn the technique, then I can find out a shorting or different ways or different combinations to use with it. And I'm very talented on that part. But then at that time, me and Gene teach me a lot of stuff he knows, and then I brought my system. That time there is no highest system, but the Gene with me, we come up the highest. We made the highest system, and that's where we start competitions, different here and there, all different type of competition. Then MMA comes up. There is no MMA. There is no holds bar that time. When was it? No holds bar started 86, 87, something like that. Then UFC comes in 93. And I remember Art David. I don't know if you remember Art David.
Yeah.
He was begging me to compete at UFC. And I was really want to do it, but I don't want to say things. Some people don't want me to enter because they want to do they want to show the people striking is the most important. Grappling is more important than striking. So he said, if you entered, and we are same stylists, and it's not going to be really good for us, so wait a little bit. Then we wait, and then what happened is that all the UFC fighters, they come and start training with me. And somehow, 1994, 95, maybe 95, I have 500 students in my academy. Most of the guys are fighting UFC, and I was teaching all these guys. And then there's no way I can get up and go and beat the guy I'm teaching it. So it's kind of a little confusing. But I was making good money, more money than the UFC paid that time. You know.
So there is an alternate universe where Gokor just stomps UFC 1 and the entire world is different. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, what? It's just this guy from Armenia destroyed everybody.
No, you know, I'll be honest with you. Today I like Jiu-Jitsu too. You see, I'm a 4th-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they offered me many years ago, like 25, Machado brothers, they offer me to become a black belt. But then I understand that every 3 years you change your the level. But the time when I was 25 years ago, I was thinking it's not very important, to have a black belt, or it's important that you go to the mat and destroy people. That's the most important for me. The belt is not important. But in the years that pass, when my students start thinking about to go compete, and now they want the instructor be there with a higher level belt. Then when you walk in, like especially IBJJF, you walk in there, it doesn't matter. You can be a 10th-degree black belt, and they want to put you in a 1st-degree black belt because you just basically new for them. Your name is new. The longest, I have students that come and train with me. I don't know if you know Rodrigo Antunes in Florida. He's in Florida.
I competed against Rodrigo in a tournament.
He's been trained with me many times, and it's years. I think 4 years. The game changed completely, Rodrigo, when he comes, and he's a great guy. And him, and not only him, and lots of. Today I have at least 15 black belts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys on my academy, and they're all nice people. They all there to learn. Not important who's winning and what is winning and who can beat who's. In my academy, nothing like that. If you walk to my academy, there's nothing who's winning and who's losing. There's no such a thing. It's training. So, and if you tap, it doesn't mean you lost. Just tap because you're careful not to get hurt because you want to compete tournament tomorrow and kick somebody's ass in tournament. But you cannot take no risk not to tap because you can hurt yourself and you're not competing tomorrow. That's the way it is. I explain it to my students. You are in a very dangerous. You feel like your shoulder it's going to pop up or something. You feel it. Just tap. Just stop. Nobody cares and nobody judging at that time. So for me, like I say, I love every art. I respect every one of them because I know you guys are trained so hard, and to come a competitor or come a teacher, come everything. Come a teacher is also you have to train yourself. You have to really train yourself to teach your student to he can get he cannot be old school, you know, like, oh, I know what I know, so that's what they know. You have to study yourself. You have to see what is new, what other people do. You have to go with other people's brain to see what they think, because it's always give you ideas and to combine and then teach your students, you know.
Awesome, man. That's such a refreshing way to look at things, because I feel like, particularly in the terms of leg locks, just like what you said before, you spoke a little bit about how when you would go to compete at other gyms and you train at other gyms, they would be like, no, you can't leg lock me because you can't make me look bad in front of my students. Like, bro, like, I don't care if you make me look bad. I want to learn, man. Like that mindset has crippled, that ego and that pride has crippled the progression of jiu-jitsu for quite some time. And I feel like we're starting to grow out of that. There's still some guys that hold on to that, but I really feel like as a whole, the jiu-jitsu community and the fighting community is starting to grow out of the fact that I don't want to lose students to you. Like, no, let's just learn things, man. Let's get better together.
Kevin, be honest with you, it's changing a lot now. Like you're talking about 20 years ago, jiu-jitsu guys are if somebody teach you something, it's not a teacher, it's a big problem. Don't listen to anybody. Don't go to anybody. I think it's changing a lot right now because lots of people start understanding it's a kind of little mix up. It's important. This is why I have all the jiu-jitsu guys in my place, because they want to learn the higher system. And you know what? Even the Rodrigo, even the other people, they tell me, he said, we know the jiu-jitsu. We're doing 25 years. And now we want to learn your stuff. Then we got jiu-jitsu and your stuff. Now we are better than other jiu-jitsu guy. And it's true. That's the way it is, you know. That's the way if you open up your brain and you forget about your ego, then you can learn a lot more and you'd be a lot better. You know, but some people have ego, oh, you know, my name is this and I'm here and there. I was walked to some people's seminars, and these people are teaching a seminar. They get so nervous, you know, like Sensei Gokor here. And they ask me, Sensei Gokor, what you doing here? I say, I'm come to your seminar. I want to see what you're doing. That you are making me nervous. I say, why? You know, you see, some people feel like that, but me and myself, I don't feel like that. You know, I like to see what other people do. That's the way you get better. See, because if I know what I know, maybe it's not enough to give to my students, and I don't work on myself, and my student will never be good. But if I know somebody, give me some ideas, I learn about something from other people, then I'm a teacher. So I go and think about and give me some ideas, and then ideas will come in and help my student. The teacher has to do whatever he can do for his student, not to name, oh, Gokor was my seminar. That's okay. It can be happen that too. Why not? Then people come, BJ Penn was my seminar, so he was a UFC champion at that time. Nothing wrong, you know. Eddie Bravo comes up asking me, can I have a private lesson with you? It's okay. Why not? Everybody can learn from everybody, you know.
When one of the things that I can't stress enough, I can remember getting my black belt, and I know it's kind of cliched, but like when you get your black belt, you don't feel like, okay, my journey is complete. I know everything there is to know. It's like, no, like I have a better understanding of what jiu-jitsu is, but it means I can learn from everyone else, and I can take the things that they say. And just like you said, I can look at a technique and I can absorb it now, make my own little tweaks upon where I feel like it's going to be more important. Maybe there's a few little holes in it, but I can use that. And the day you quit learning is the day you quit living, as far as I'm concerned. Anyone that says they know everything doesn't know anything at all.
No.
And the opposite. You know?
The people, I was teaching a seminar in Greece, Greek country, the teacher is a big guy, big muscular guy. He's standing like this. He doesn't do no techniques. He doesn't grapple with anybody. Nothing. Zero. I was there. It was over 150 people. And then I asked them, how many people wants to grapple with me? And everybody, me. I said, okay. Then end up 45 people, and then I have to grapple with the 45 people there. And and I'm not a young boy, I'm 57, some 57 years old, they cannot get out of the bed, But I still play with everybody, and I'm doing good so far. When I feel bad, then I will stop doing it, but I'm still having fun. And then after the seminar finished, and this guy walked to me. He said he wants to. I give him a black belt, and he said, "Oh, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I like to have a black belt from you." I said, "My friend, I am here 3 days. I give a 2-day seminar. I didn't see you doing a shit here. All day long, you just standing like this and head like this and watching it, I said, you want to get your black belt? Bring your ass here and grapple with me, and then I can see who you are and what you can do."
That's insane to me.
Yeah, I said, but in Greece, teachers are not competing. They're watching the student. I said, bullshit. The teacher know how to compete, then can compete. It's watching like this. Your student is nothing to do your student. I have to feel my student. Like I have a great grappler, Karen Darabedian. I don't know if you ever see Karen Darabedian. He's been a couple times in Jiu-Jitsu World Championships. He won a couple of times. He did a good job there, and he also competed with Gary Tonin on the last eBay or some place. They come even match. They both going to Leglocks to each other. It was a fun to watch. I don't know if you guys see it or if you don't watch it later. But all this kind of stuff, the people are combining it, and that's our system basically. It's the way it is. We just have no ego. We love to help, teach, and learn ourselves too. So.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think we're good, man. I think we're gonna get it going here, man. I think we're gonna let you get off, man. Kev, I can't stress enough. Like, I was very amazed by you and as like a mythical being, and being able to talk to you has really made me respect you even that much more. As someone that has been around the grappling game for so long, nowhere near as long as you has. Like, it's an honor to be able to spend this time with you, and the information you give me has really been amazing.
Both of you Kevins on there. Thank you so much, my friends. And it was nice talking to you. It was a really pleasure. And like I say, if you're in Los Angeles, please visit me, and you will be my guest, my friend.
100%. Next time I'm in LA, I'm coming out to see you.
For sure. And I now have a reason to go back to LA, which is crazy because I went there once and the traffic was such a nightmare. I'm like, nothing will ever get me out there again. But you, sir, you managed to do it.
Yeah, please. It will be my pleasure and an honor for me. You guys stop by and you will see what I told you, what I say. It's all true. It's
nice.
I have nothing to hide at anybody. I don't want to talk bad to anybody. Even the people I don't like it, I don't like talk.
I'm like that myself. I try my best. Sometimes I'm a little crazy and they slip out, but I do my best. I do my best to try to not make waves and respect everybody.
No, I'm very cool on those things, and I do what I do, and I just leave it to other people to judge.
Definitely. All right. Well, once again, thank you, Gokor, for dropping by. This has been a very informative, deep dive episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Times podcast. We're still doing these. Quarantine's still in effect, so we wish all of our viewers well. Stay safe. Hope you and your families are safe. And we will train again. Jiu-Jitsu will be back.
I can't wait to open a school and start training, and I can't wait. So I miss it so much, and I know you guys have missed it too. And wish all the world healthiness. Everybody be healthy. It doesn't matter what nationality they are. Every of us is humans. You know, we have to respect each other.
100%.
Definitely. Even us here in Jersey, we're still technically human.
Even
All
Jersey.
right. I have been your host, Kevin Bradley, joined as always by my co-host, Kevin Gallagher, and special guest, Gokor. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, buddy.